Welcome to Beyond Survival, Triumphantly You, a space where extraordinary women share their journeys from struggle to strength. I'm Gwen Heinrichs, and in each episode, we sit down with survivors, fighters, and thrivers, women who have not only conquered breast cancer, but have turned their battles into purpose and empowerment. Their stories will uplift, inspire, and remind you that survival isn't the end, it's just the beginning. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. on YouTube, Beyond Survival, Triumphantly You. Subscribe now and be a part of the journey. So I'm going to introduce Vera Ventura, and the reason why I picked her to interview or to have a conversation with, really, is what we're doing, is because I found her and she just showed a tremendous spirit. I connected with her. She didn't know me, but I was following her. I was connecting with her because everything that she did was positive, and I felt like we had a connected spirit. So Vera Ventura is a stage 4 breast cancer survivor. She's a mindset coach and a healer who bridges the worlds of Western medicine and natural healing. She's a Harvard graduate and also graduated from Skidmore College or University. She's a sober warrior, and so am I. She's a yoga teacher, which I'm not, a mother, which I am. And she turned her pain into profound purpose. She guides others through detox, which I want to learn all about, recovery, and soul deep transformation. She runs retreats and does guided detox, and she's so interesting. And she's absolutely moved beyond survival, redefining what it means to live fully, freely, and fearlessly. So, Vera, welcome to Beyond Survival, Triumphantly You.
That was a great intro, Gwen. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. So my first question is, um, you had stage 4 cancer or have it and are still going through treatment. That can shatter your life and has shattered so many people's lives, but you've turned yours into a mission. And what was your very first thought when you received your first diagnosis, and how did it begin to reshape your life?
I received my first diagnosis in 2019 when I was 39, and my kids were 4 and 6. I think the thought that was running through my head was like, how did this happen to me? Because I'm the healthiest person in my family. I've also been in recovery for, at that point, 15 years. No flour, no sugar, no alcohol, meditation daily. I was really known as the pinnacle of health. I was also a yoga teacher. So to me, it was a great shock. It was a great shock, and I was a bit in disbelief that this could happen to me. I also kind of felt bad for myself because I got cancer, and here I am, like the healer of all healers, and I've got cancer. But I got over that real fast. I got over that fast. And I also um, was semi-relieved, not semi-relieved. I mean, cancer's still cancer, cancer, whatever name, tomato, tomato, cancer's cancer. But the kind of cancer I had was also genetic. It was the BRCA1, which is the breast
Hmm.
cancer gene one, and only 5% of cancers are BRCA1. I mean, sorry, only 5% of cancers are genetic, 5 to 10%. And this was a very, nuanced kind of specific. So in a way, I was relieved in a way, but I was also like, I still have cancer, that it
What
wasn't
made you relief? What gave you relief?
that it was genetic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why, because most cancers are not genetic, but 5 to 10% are. And I was the 5% to 10%.
Okay. So it's interesting because I was off white flour, white sugar, alcohol, any mind-altering substances for 3 years prior to my diagnosis. And I say that to everybody. I'm like, and they're like, well, we don't need any sugar. I'm like, well, I was off all of that stuff and I still got diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of stress, a lot of anger towards just a lot of negative energy, and that feeds cancer when you live in lack of abundance. So I had a lot of a lack of abundance energy, and
Hmm.
holding on to old traumas and not really letting go of, I do the work in recovery, but there's like layers of an onion, and the more work you do, the more you have to do more work to heal those layers. And it was a tough time for me. I had my two kids, and I was trying to figure out work stuff and doing jobs that did not align with me at all, and it was very uncomfortable. I'm not saying that was the cause, but I put an enormous amount of pressure on myself to be very successful in these companies, and they were not in alignment with who I am. So it was like putting a round peg in a square hole. It didn't really work.
What what kind of work were you doing at the
MLN,
time? What was?
MLN stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So
multi-level marketing.
it sounds tough, especially having two young kids.
Yeah.
Um, sometimes my last guest, the gray hair lady, and she joined us today, Margaret. Um, she had mentioned that when she got diagnosed, she knew everything was going to be okay. Did you have that same kind of feeling inside?
Um, I just I just saw it as like a research project in a way. Like I wanted to learn and uncover while I educated other people. So I really tried to get the focus off of me. So in a way, if you don't perseverate on your diagnosis, and the same way people perseverate on their kids sometimes, like he's in the
Mhm.
97th percentile and his toenail is this long. Like I just don't look at those kind of details. I still probably can't even tell you the exact diagnosis of they say some people really know like the word the exact lingo of all the diagnosis. And to me, I just again took it, and of course it was a hard thing to stomach, but give it I didn't really dance with it too much regarding fear.
Yeah, right. That seems to be a theme for you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So you mentioned that you have, sometimes I see that you write that you had four cancers or are dealing with four cancers, and
Yeah.
sometimes I see that you're stage four. What's the difference?
Stage 4 is when it metastasizes from the local spot that it was in, and then 4 cancers are just like the spots where the cancer occurred. But if it originated in one spot and metastasized, then it's stage 4 for at least breast cancer. So then I had in 2021, oh, I had bilateral breast cancer in 2019, and then 2021, the cancer had traveled up to my brain from the surgery. Because when you open things up, especially the blood-brain barrier, because chemo doesn't really hit the blood-brain barrier, it can travel. It's like a crab. Cancer's like a crab. And so it wants to go all these different places. So it crawled up to my head and it lodged itself in my cerebellum. And then we got that taken out. I got it taken out. It's a whole story, but I had it taken out by a great doctor. And then unfortunately, you cannot always get all the cancer cells out. You can do radiation, you can do your best, but again, they're like the crab, they like to go places. So it turned out a year and a half later that it had metastasized to my brain and caused brain cancer. So leptomeningeal disease is when cancer gets in the folds of your brain. And and everyone was really concerned because the prognosis is like 3 to 6 months to live. And I was like, oh no.
Oh
Right?
my God.
Yeah, well, they told me not to Google it, so I never did. I never did until I healed. And so I just, I called my naturopath, and my friend, she's a friend. I met her in a park one day, when our kids were playing together, and I just picked her brain, from the minute I met her, because she was so brilliant. And she was the only person that I could think of to call. And I called her and I was like, they didn't have a good solution for me. They really did not have a good solution. I would have trusted maybe Western medicine if they did have a good solution, as I did trust in some other fashions. I never wanted to do chemo. I went to chemo kicking and screaming, but I did acquiesce and do the reconstruction, and I but they didn't have a good solution. For breast cancer, it's like, this is it. This is a story. But for brain cancer, they just don't. You can't just cut out the tumor all the time, especially if it spreads. It wasn't even, it was just, it wasn't even a tumor. It wasn't localized. It was all over the brain. Like, how do you deal with that? You just die. I mean, really, that's what happens. That's what they predict. So I was like, oh no, I don't want to die. And so I called, my naturopath. I was crying, and she's just like, show me the scans. I showed her the scans, and then she's like, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to stop eating and start juicing. Just green juice, green juice, green juice, green juice. And I was like, okay, I just wanted to live, at that point.
You do whatever you could,
So I did it
whatever
for
you
the
had to.
first 30 days. I did it for the first 30 days. And a way to cope with it is I documented it. I documented the fast. It's all on my Instagram. My Instagram is Vera the cancer goddess, Vera the cancer goddess. But right now it's a different name. So if you if you are watching the second, it's a different name. And I'll tell you that afterwards. But it should be, if you're watching this in replay, it will be Vera the cancer goddess. I just had to wait. I just had to wait 14 days to change my name again. Okay, anyway. So so she said do it for 30 days. So I documented myself. I also documented someone else who was like fashionable, because I really like fashion. And so it was a way for me to like take the focus off of me. But I had a really powerful experience. It was very powerful. I did 30 days, and then I was like, well, this is working out. I'm just going to
30
keep
days of fasting and just juicing. I'm just
juice, green juice. Exactly.
okay.
And I was like, well, this is going well. So then I went for another 37 days. And this time I integrated fats and broths and seeds. So altogether, it was 67 days. I documented every day of my journey. It's all on my Instagram. And every day was every day was every day was very entertaining, and you'll see that, because I had to entertain myself. If I'm like fasting for 67 days, it's like you gotta do something. You can't focus on not eating, So I ended up breaking my fast, because you have to break a fast eventually. And I did it in a really haphazard, kind of dumb way. I ended up going to a foreign country. I went to Dominican Republic with my family because I wanted to study Spanish, which I'm very passionate about. And I didn't
Your
realize,
little ones, you went with your little ones?
yeah, I went with my husband and my two kids. And this was 2004. This is 2004. No, I think, 2003, at the end of 2003. Okay. Because I was diagnosed in 2023, in May with the leptomeningeal disease. And then I spent from May to August fasting, May to August fasting. And in August, yeah, we went to, it was July. July, we went to Cabarete in Dominican Republic, and I tried to juice there. But the problem was the microbiome is very different than what we're used to. And so my body just rejected it. It just rejected it. And I had extreme food poisoning, and I got very thin. I was like 90 pounds, and I lost all my muscle, and I got to the point where the brain cancer started coming back, because I had put everything on hold, because when you fast, you're actually killing cancer cells. So my body was in this crazy state of, healing, but it was also extremely nutrient deficient. And that, because
Ugh.
that's what the juicing does. And if I can't juice, if I couldn't juice, then I was, yeah. So then I tried to eat food and that didn't go so well. And so I ended up getting basically rushed to the hospital from Dominican Republic and just presented, very, very poorly at the hospital where they put me on hospice and they were like, okay, everyone say goodbye. This is what's happening. And my
You
kid,
survived hospice. Wow.
yeah. And then my that was actually a very big moment for me because I remember being ready to my oncologist is amazing. She really is curious about what I'm doing because it's been so successful. But I got there and I was almost dead. She did not, I mean, people did not have hope for me at that point. But she did something where she just kind of rolled the dice and gave me the NR2 drug by the company AstraZeneca. And I remember getting the infusion and then having that she maybe she did or someone sent over the hospice nurse or whatever, the hospice coordinator. And I got so mad. I mean, I was literally almost dead and I was so mad. And
You were mad at who or what?
that the hospice person was there.
Oh, okay, because they
I
sent you
told
hospice.
I was like,
Like,
don't you dare do that again. I am not gonna die, or whatever. I mean, I've learned that hospice is not always about just death, but it's kind of a
mm-mm.
preparation. Um, it's so anyway, I just I'm so grateful that it all worked out. I can't tell you like the moments of the times like where I was like, is this really gonna work out?
Mm-hmm. Well, of
But
course, you're human. You have doubts. I mean, and it's your life that we're talking about.
but I just had so much generosity from people around me. For instance, when I after I got the infusion and I went home after being in the hospital for weeks, my friends had set up like a GoFundMe for me, and then I was able to hire a nurse. Things like
Hmm.
that are so essential. Having someone to cook for my kids, someone to help take them to school. I needed that. I couldn't do anything. I was completely bedbound. I couldn't walk. I needed to pee in a what are they called? In a where you sit in the chair and you pee and you poop
Oh,
in a bucket.
a bedside commode.
A commode. I mean, the commode sounds like a really nice name, but it's not that nice to sit, poop and pee and then she had to take it out for me. I mean, really, I mean, and I remember waking up one night and just like getting up and then falling over and, scaring my husband half to death. I mean, it was a very intense time. I could barely eat, I could barely eat. So I've been there, I've been there. I've been there. But I'm
Yeah.
so grateful to just every infusion I just got better and better and better. And then I went back to yoga and then I, started eating again and taking my kids to school and I just got better and better and better and now I'm I'm just great. I'm just I'm helping other women. I'm starting a retreat center.
I
Um,
saw that. It's gorgeous. Oh, it's
which one?
beautiful.
Which one? Which one?
There's
Oh,
a big house.
no, no, that's not my retreat center. That's a house I'm
Oh,
renting. But I'm
oh, okay.
I'm starting a retreat, like a retreat center, in Somerville, actually. So that is right now. I rent houses in order to have the retreats where I bring the women with me from all around the country who have demonstrated academic or educational learning in my platform
Hmm.
around healing cancer, the metabolic approach to cancer. because the reason I did so well
Hmm.
in healing was because I had primed my body and it was completely cleansed. Everything, even the cancer cells, they were everything was cleansed. So when they dumped that magic juice in me, which is the NR2, my body
Hmm.
was very receptive to it. Where normally people would not have had that grade of success. Most people die. So the
I
cleaning up,
saw,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, and I did see that on your website that said something about the fasting really helps to boost the effect of the infusion.
Yes, it does. It's very, very powerful when you combine it with chemotherapy. I learned about that from one of my former clients, and then I started doing because I didn't do that when I first got chemotherapy. I was eating, and I mean, granted, it was time restricted eating, but it was still eating nonetheless. And if your body's eating, it cannot repair. It
It
can't.
can't.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So the nutrients from food are not going to help you to heal?
No, because it's a digestion. That's why you juice it, because you can still get those nutrients, but you don't digest it. Digesting just takes a lot of energy.
And would you say that this is for all cancers?
Oh, yeah, for every disease. Fasting is the best thing you can do. You can do the research.
Wow.
There's so much research. I just type in fasting and look at Dr. Thomas Seyfried of Boston College. I just interviewed him.
I
Um,
saw that.
Also Dr. Jason Fung, um, Mindy Pellets, and she wrote a book called Fast Like a Girl. I mean, the research is there by tons of doctors. I don't want to go through the litany of research
Sure.
because I would be making it too pedantic. I would make it too simple. I mean, it's very
Hmm.
nuanced and it's very detailed, and what it does for cancer is beyond powerful.
When you were exploring or using your naturopathic methods, did you get pushback from the traditional Western doctors that you were seeing? Were there times where they were pushing back against your natural approaches?
I was very lucky in that I got a very open oncologist, and I had a very open team. They didn't understand it, but they were open. And so when I first met my oncologist and I came with a bag of oils and supplements, and she's like, fine. She was curious about one because it was a Indian one that she didn't know about. But she was fine. She was fine. She didn't tell me I couldn't use my oils and my supplements, and
Good.
and some people are more open to it than others. But I'm more curious. That's the word. I found in Western or conventional medicine that there's a bit of a lack of curiosity when someone's doing so well. It's almost like they expect you to be sick, and the outliers are just outliers. But the outliers should be asked questions and be studied instead of just being pigeonholed as an outsider.
Yeah,
That's why
absolutely.
that's why I became a radical remission coach, because that's what Dr. Kelly Turner did. Is she interviewed,
Radical remission.
yeah, she's a Harvard grad. She um did her PhD, I think, in Berkeley, and then she basically went around the world and interviewed survivors. She interviewed the outliers and then came up with 10 common themes. And so I teach that,
Hmm.
and I became certified when I was on my deathbed, basically, because I knew that that was going to help heal me. Among 1,000 other things, I do a lot of things for healing. I just did vitamin C injections. That was amazing. Oh my gosh, because I was
Was
fasting for,
that infusion?
yeah, I did IV. The same way I did
Hmm.
IV with my magic juice, I did IV with my with my vitamin C. And you know, the most amazing thing, I mean, incredible, incredible, because here I am, I fasted for 6 days, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
was a mess. I mean, not a mess, but I was just, tired, lethargic, and from fasting. And you fasting is glorious. It's beautiful, but it can take a lot of mental discipline too. And and then I just wanted to be sharp, I just wanted to be sharp again for this, because sometimes I've made the mistake of recording podcasts when I'm fasting, and it never goes well.
Yeah.
The host is always very disappointed. No, I'm just kidding. But I just wanted to be sharp for you, and I have other events going on right now, and so I went to this place and I got I think 100 grams of IV of vitamin C, and I woke up like nothing had ever happened, like I never even fasted. I had the same amount of energy that I had right before the fast, and I never had that before. I was like, oh,
Wow.
and you don't feel it right away. You definitely feel like a little bit. They told me I would be hungry, and I was like, uh-oh, I guess I'm breaking my fast. And I was so hungry. And I
How
broke it.
many days? After 7 days?
I started Friday and I broke it yesterday.
Okay. All right. Six.
Yeah.
6 full days, pretty
Yeah.
much,
Yeah. Yesterday I
or
broke it.
5 full days.
Yeah.
Right. So far, you've mentioned IV vitamin C, you've mentioned fasting, you've mentioned supplements.
Yeah.
Um, I myself do coffee enemas once a week.
Mhm.
I feel like I am a better like I am feel so great after that for like, and that holds me over for like a whole week. I have not tried to do fasting, but I'm thinking about joining your 7 day fast just to feel better. It's just going to make me feel better, and I
I
know
would
it
love to have you.
intensely.
Yay. That's great.
Yeah. And so I want to do that. And I also use a lot of supplements. What other modalities have you used
Yeah,
to
so
beat your cancers?
I love coffee enemas. They're great. But I think the primary is my foundation in recovery. Um, so we have a lot of different tools. One of them is the tool of gratitude, the tool of writing, the tool of quiet time meditation, 30 minutes every day, the tool of letting
Mm.
go of fear and anger and all that sort of stuff. Connection, a connection with people, with friends, with family. Um, that is so powerful. Your why, having a why is really important. The stuff when Kelly Turner interviewed all these people, only two of the 10 were actually physical, food and supplements. The rest
Ah.
were spiritual. And so I account for my healing as being part of a spiritual journey. There's no there's no supplement, there's no particular thing that I did
Mm-hmm.
besides really just have a very deep belief in a higher power and a beautiful community to support me with that.
That's amazing. I've been sober myself since 2017. So I can absolutely relate to gratitude. And so I have a question about, well, I think you just answered it. It was about your mindset and how that plays into your recovery. How do you teach mindset? Because
Yeah.
you are a mindset coach or a teacher.
Well, I work with Dr. Ellen Langer. She's the first tenured professor of psychology at Harvard, and she's been doing research for 45 years around mindfulness. She's known as the mother of mindfulness. So I have been basically apprenticing her, learning under her, attending her classes, and going to her labs, and working closely with her regarding my retreats as well. And mindfulness is just simply just being in the moment. That's all. It's making that decision to be here in the moment. And it's not always easy, but that's why we practice. We do practice. We practice. Like, you don't expect to go to the gym and get a six pack overnight. No, you have to show up for it. And that's what meditation or quiet time is. And mindfulness is a state of post meditation. It's not necessarily in meditation, because I get a lot of, oh, Vera, I can't sit in meditation. My head's too busy. Well, of course it is. That's the point. The point is to uh, control that dog, right? To put a leash on the dog that is always moving and always barking, and out, so that you get some respite here and there of clarity, and you get respite of noise, but that takes time. And I still
Mm-hmm.
have noise. I still have, I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, but I still, 21 years, I still can have a revvy mind. I
Mm-hmm.
still can have a quiet mind. I can have a revvy and a quiet mind. But as long as I'm sitting with myself for 30 minutes, I can have that experience. And I put the phone down, and no distractions, no noise, no guided meditations. It's just me and my crazy head sometimes. And there have been moments in my life where it just keeps going. The head just keeps going, perseverates over a person, or over a situation, over a fear, but you're aware of those details. You're aware because you've been sitting with your head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
eh, that's mindfulness. Mindfulness is then being aware of the moment, being in the moment of the moment.
Absolutely.
Her whole thing is, what is 1 plus 1? It's she gives this to the Harvard kids. She goes, what is 1 plus 1? And they're all like, oh my gosh. And someone's like, two. And she's like, no, it's not always two. One cloud plus one cloud is one cloud. One load of laundry plus one load of laundry is one load of laundry. It depends how you look at it. If you look at it in the way they teach you in school, 1 plus 1 is two. So it's mindfully looking at something from a different perspective, from many different perspectives, not just the way you have been taught,
Mm-hmm.
not just the way you've been schooled and educated or not educated. Sometimes we have to get uneducated to be educated.
Undo the damage.
Sometimes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, if you could let me find something you haven't discussed yet. Oh, your yoga and your pole dancing. So those are very physical activities. So how do you think physical activities play into your recovery, both from, cancer point of view as well as uh, your sobriety?
That's a great question. And so, like I said, a year and a half ago, I was bedbound, and then I went to a cane, and then I went to a walker, um, and then I went to wobbling. And so it's been a gradual humility, because I was a yoga teacher for so long and I couldn't even do tree. I was too unstable. So it's been a journey of humility. I've gone to PT, and again, that perseverance, like, never give up, don't give up. Like, I couldn't walk up the stairs. And today I did yoga and did sun salutations, and the healing is amazing. And again, like with pole dancing, I wanted something that was going to challenge me. I was really inspired by J Lo in that movie Hustlers, when she came out, and she's like in her 50s and she looks incredible, and she's like spinning on the pole. And then there's a big pole community in my neighbor in my town. So I just wanted to try it out and also get back to like that sensuality kind of element that is sometimes missing with women with breast cancer.
Hmm. Yeah, I was talking with Margaret about the same thing. You know, you look in the mirror, you're not the same. You don't feel like the woman that you were. You know, when you lose your hair and your body's falling apart, and those kinds of physical activities keep you in touch with your body and your femininity, and that's really important. And so uh your children, how are you open with your children? Have you been open with your children about everything? And do they tell me a little bit about what it's like to be a mom of younger kids
Oh,
going
sure.
through all this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an open book. My name means Vera. It means truth in Latin. I don't really hide much from them at all. So I mean, they've been part of my journey. They were, 4 and 6 when I got diagnosed. So they are part of the journey. They know the journey and they know how resilient I am.
Mm,
So the one time that when I told my son that I was dying, he had a big reaction and he was in total disbelief, which is understandable if your mom's telling you that. But he was just like fighting me on it. And I was almost convinced that I was going to die at that point. And I do have that regret that I told him that. But at the time, it's like what I was feeling. Um, they have seen my progress and now they don't even see me as having cancer, honestly. And it's a little hard sometimes because I do have infusions and I just sometimes don't feel like being a mom. And then I said something like, it was infusion day yesterday. And, Mom, I don't care. That's such an excuse. Like, you're never sick. Like, stop it. Like my daughter was sick today and I said, honey, like, let me take care of you. You have no idea how it feels. You're never sick or something. So I think they just think I'm just this person who has never experienced sickness in some ways, but also
mhm,
like they don't see cancer as being sick and inflammatory and so that's okay. I mean, that's okay. But the point is being a mom and having to be responsible for someone else and to be their um their support keeps you out of yourself. So they have been actually really good because if you feel bad for yourself, you don't have time because you have to do something for a child because a child always requires something. At least my kids definitely did between the four,
get
five.
you out of your head.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter was like 4. I mean, come on. Like, she didn't care that I had cancer. She didn't even know what that was. She was 4. Now she's a little bit older. She understands, but she just needs like, Mommy, like, get me this new dress, or Mommy, like, I want a play date. I mean, it's not, they don't think about it that much. They don't really care, honestly. They're not that old to care. They're just like, they don't, it doesn't, and when they get older, they're going to realize, oh my gosh, like my mom had 4 cancers in 5 years when I was like, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, and
Mm.
they're going to realize that at some point. But right now, they're too much in their own egos, and that's okay. That's what childhood's about. And it was the best thing for me because it helped me get out of my own ego too.
I love that you are helping other women and you're coaching other women and teaching people to be more mindful, and you are always yourself remaining open and open to learning, and you're constantly learning. I love that about you. Uh, the and you have mentors and you're still learning from people, and that's amazing. That's the kind of coach that I would be seeking if I were seeking a coach. Where can the listeners or participants, where can they find you? And I want to say one more thing. It's amazing that you do a lot of work for donation. I noticed that you do some work, some of your work is for donation, and you're not charging an arm and a leg and um, being greedy or anything like that. And you're offering scholarships to the people you feel are worthy. And those things, I just think that you're doing a great job. So where can people find you if they want you to help them?
Noticing that because I'll tell you this, my friend who's a naturopath never charged me for her help. And that's why I started my nonprofit, because the person who saved my life never charged me. So that's why I did it. And these women are, these women are so special to me. They're like my sisters now. And there's so much lack of abundance with women with cancer. I'm finding they have their worst mindset around money. And my job is to make money to help them see their abundance, find their abundance. And if donation helps them and they can still learn and become abundant, then I've done my job. I just find that there's a real lack and there's a scarcity mindset in the cancer community that's big time, big time.
Absolutely.
And okay, where can people find me? Okay, here we go.
Yes.
So if they go to breastcancergoddess.com, so breastcancergoddess.org, and then they click on, there's a tab that says the Cancer Goddess. That's my for-profit. That's my for-profit. And that's where I do
Mm-hmm.
coaching I do coaching, and I also do fasting, fasting. And so
Mm-hmm.
the fasting is donation based. The coaching, I really haven't even had the bandwidth for, but I will be starting to do private coaching. But I do group coaching basically on an
Mm-hmm.
educational platform called Circle Community. And the way to get into that community is by going to my Facebook group. So I have a Facebook group called Breast Cancer Goddess. There's about 4,000 people in that group now. And then from there, you get invited to the online community, which is 1111 a month. Those are angel numbers. Whenever you see 1111, make a wish, because or of
Mm-hmm.
abundance, because those are angel numbers. And so um I basically started this platform, and that's where we do all the education, we do interviews. There's a ton about fasting, there's a ton about you know, what to do with chemo, what to do when you have your double mastectomy, what to do, it's a how-to for anybody who has breast cancer for with
Mm.
non-conventional medicine and conventional medicine. And then we have a great community. We have classes, about 2 classes a week right now. We hope to have more, but it's just kind of me right now running the show. So it's a little overwhelming sometimes, but sometimes I have guests, like some of my first retreat participants came and they do some guest work as well. And I interview really interesting people who are going through a crazy journey, like my friend Heather, who has a massive tumor that she's been getting going to Mexico to get treatment for with cannabis.
Wow.
And then we have a cannabis nurse, and then we have someone who's an expert with IVs of like giving IVs of the supplemental IVs like vitamin C.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I mean, it's really a great place of learning. And that's where people can also get access to coaching. Is more group coaching though at that point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Vera. It was lovely to get to know you, and yeah, you're doing amazing work. And I hope to be able to participate. I want to learn how to fast.
Yeah,
So, I might join you in that.
please do. Please do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be watching everything that you're doing, and hopefully I can participate a little bit. And thank you so much. I appreciate you.
For having me, Gwen. You've done your work. You're a star. You're a star at this.
Uh, Thanks. I appreciate that. I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye. Has your skin been through hell and back? I'm Gwen Heinrichs, founder of Blissfully Bare Skincare. After my fight with breast cancer, my skin changed, and so did my standards. I needed skincare I could actually trust. And while there were plenty of products out there, I couldn't really be sure they were safe for skin that had been through so much like mine. So I created Blissfully Bare, clean, effective, bioactive skincare made with wonderful ingredients like snow mushroom for deep hydration, bromelain for gentle exfoliation, and chamomile and cucumber to calm and soothe and restore your skin. No phthalates, no parabens, no hormone disruptors ever. Ready to feel good in your skin again? Click the link in the comments to shop our beautiful collection, because nothing compares to Bare.